So here we're going to use jsFiddle to try out some JavaScript error handling and validation. So jsFiddle is a browser-based IDE that allows a developer to code online in JavaScript, HTML and CSS. The code snippets created by developers using jsFiddle are referred to as fiddles. So open your browser and type in jsfiddle.net into the address bar, and you should see a screen somewhat like this. So I'm going to write a program to validate the user input of a 4-digit PIN. So let's check the panes here. We have our HTML section, JavaScript, CSS, and the result section here is where you would expect to see the results rendered from the code. So the defaults for HTML are the language HTML and the doc type HTML5, and there's no specific settings for the body tag, so we're going to go with those defaults. For JavaScript, we want the language JavaScript, the pure.js as the framework and extensions, and for the load type we want it to be at the bottom of the head, so we click on that. And for CSS, just go with the defaults. The language is CSS, and this is grayed out as the option there. Okay, so let's start with the HTML. So again, we said that we want to validate a user input of a 4-digit PIN. So I'm going to paste in some HTML here for a paragraph with an input button, and on click of the button the function called myFunction will be called. So I'm going to tidy up that code. Now the JavaScript, we'll insert the JavaScript function here into this section. So this is for the code that will be called when the user clicks on the validate the input. So this is my function, and it validates if the PIN is empty, if the PIN is not a number, or the PIN should be 4 digits. So it's using try and catch, and it'll throw error messages if any of these are true. Now for CSS, okay, we'll run it without any CSS and then show the results after. So let's run this code, and here what's rendered in the browser is your 4-digit PIN, this text here, the input text box from here, and the button which has the text validate input on it. And so when the user clicks on this button, so on click, the JavaScript myFunction will be called, and that will execute this code here. So let's do that. Let's click on the button. So it says error, PIN is empty. So let's see, if I do 12, and click on it, it'll say PIN should be 4 digits. So it's throwing out, first of all, it throwed out that message because I didn't enter anything. Then I entered 12, and it's throwing out this message. It's saying PIN should be 4 digits. That's because the length of the user input was not equal to 4. Now let's put in some CSS. Okay, so we'll just do some simple CSS and style the paragraph, the P in the HTML, style that in the color blue, so any text there would be blue. So we'll run that code and see already it's rendered the text there in blue. So let's enter a valid PIN. So 1, 2, 3, 4, say, so 4-digit PIN, and click on validate input, and so none of these error messages applied because it was a valid PIN, and so the default text of well done is shown for the message to the user.